Hello YouTube family, James Green, Short Series Shenanigans. Well, we have the mill set up. We got it moved in. Get my camera adjusted here. The shop, as you guys can see, because we're over against the garage door, a little bit different view. So everybody's usually curious, like, what does your shop look like? Well, we're near the garage main door, and you can look back and see there is the lathe, and right here is the shop smith, and this is why I have everything on wheels, so I can move stuff around. Again, it's just me, so as I move something, there's plenty of room right here. If I'm going to be working on the mill or the lathe, it works for me since I'm the only one in here 99.99% of the time. So let me get this loose in here. All right, there is the Bridgeport. It is a 1967 Series 1 J-head. So I've had a lot of people ask. Yes, it is. Now, I am going to be doing some minor changes to this. It has a static phase converter. Thank you very much, Stan Zikoski. Go check his channel out, Shout on HQW, because Stan has Barzy Industrial, and he's also a millwright. So when I have questions about certain things, just want to make sure that I'm thinking right, because I am not an electrician by trade. I know a lot about it, but if ever in doubt, I ask. So, and he had seen the video, and he's like, hey, I saw where it said it was 480 volt. Now, this came out of a business here locally in Albuquerque. The gentleman I got it from the business. They had put a static converter on it. So anyway, in the process of moving, anytime you move equipment, you have to check and make sure things are correct. You know, wires get loose, and wires had come loose in the junction box up here, and he verified that everything, it is wired, what he called low voltage for 240. So that's correct, or actually how it's supposed to go through the phase converter for 480. But anyway, there was some loose wires there in the junction box, and we went ahead and pulled the cover on the static phase converter. There were loose wires in there. Again, this thing got moved, so that was one of the, as I was going through getting it all set up. So we've given it a basic bath. I've had people ask, how tight are the gibs? They're tight for what I'm doing. They'll work fine. There is about 50 thousandths backlash on both the X and the Y, but again, that's something, if you're used to it and you can account for it, you just go ahead and wheel the backlash out of it. Yes, that's way beyond specification. Will I fix it down the road? Perhaps, but I know for me, and with any machine, you know, that has age, again, this is 1967, so 40 plus years old, coming up on 50 actually. It has a lot of time on it. And anyway, so we've got our double boost light hooked up over here temporarily. I'm going to actually get some longer wire and power cord, and actually end up mounting this up here. I'm going to build a bracket or something. I'm going to think something out and probably end up building a bracket where my power switch can be up here. Trying to mount it way back up here and having to reach up high all the time, I don't like that. So I'm going to figure something out that will work for me. And you know, we may look at you know, I've seen lots of recommendations and stuff. What I will probably do, since there are already holes in the housing, because I don't want to create additional holes in the housing, I will probably utilize these two holes that are already here and some longer screws. Again, I don't have to get into this side and do the belt change. I do it from the other side. You can actually do it from either side. And so there we go. Again, that's just an idea right now. I may end up fashioning something that you know, again, lots of ideas. I had someone say, hey, and send me a link, you can buy this real fancy thing that does this toggle switch, but that's if this is mounted up here, and I'm not going to remount all this way up here. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to keep it simple and handy. So something to where I can have it mounted up here easily for me works great. So we did our first chips on it. I'll go ahead and pan the camera down here so you guys can see what we got going on. I have, let's see, let me get you in frame here. Now the vise that came with this, I'm going to clean it up, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I've got to inspect it. It's not in very good shape. It's an old Enco vise. The vise that I've had for quite some time is actually Bridgeport vise. Now this one is actually in pretty good shape, believe it or not. I took this thing apart last year finally because I got it, and the only mark it has is this, and that's in one of the jaws and a little bit right there on the deck. But I took this apart. I'm not going to loosen it right now because I got the work in there, but it's actually really tight. Again, for what I do, it's actually in pretty dang good shape. So typically guys will say, hey, you need to get a Kurt vise, and perhaps down the road maybe, but to have a Bridgeport vise on a Bridgeport mill, I think that's pretty doggone cool. So get everything set back up over here. So what we're doing, because as I was going through everything trying to set this up, I actually had to use one of the bolt studs out of the swivel base on that vise. I thought I've got plenty of half 13 studs and nuts. I have one one T-nut. So I am making T-nuts. I've got some 1.5 by inch hard stock here. Mild steel. I made one run down the back side, and I'll just go ahead and show you some. We'll fire it up, and we're running a 660 RPM, and we're just going to run down the front side here and enjoy the show. I'll try to get you guys zoomed in here. I'll leave you wide at first so you guys can get a good angle and see what we got going on. All right. There we go. So for what we're doing here, just going to be making some T-nuts right off the bat by hand, the good old-fashioned manual way. Let's see where we're at with everything here. So 791. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and ease over out of the way. Actually, I'm going to feed back here since we're on this side because I need to make another pass down each side. And since I'm already set up, I can just dial in an additional distance here. And then when you come up, then we'll make a pass down the back side. But kind of wanted to make sure I got even passes on both sides. What I'm going to do is actually end up cutting this in sections, and I'm going to use a slitting saw on this. Or I'm sorry, yeah, I'm actually going to slice this in half. Well, the only way you can knock a can over is if you leave a brush in it. So, all right. So let's loosen up our table here. And we will add in an additional let's see, we were there 110, so 90. Let's go ahead and add another. There. Lock it and feed some more. Go zoom you guys in a little bit. I think what I'm going to have to do, because I pulled that drawbar out, that rattle, is it only had one O-ring on it, and I think that's what happened is the drawbar is rattling inside the spindle. So we're probably going to end up adding another. We'll pull it out, put another O-ring on it, probably have 3 of them in there. See if that'll kind of help get rid of this. Again, I'm still finding out all the little quirks to this, so let's go ahead and move over and take some off the other side. There we go. So, kind of just showing you guys some chipping action here. Slowly getting familiar with all of the little nuances. I've got the garage door open. If I open it all the way, it'll block some of this light. So, and I've got the fan off. It's actually like 78 degrees in here right now. So, I'm not complaining. I'm liking it. So, anyway, I'm going to be ginning right along. I'm going to go through and make sure we have our width. And what I'm going to do is, to kind of explain my reasoning behind this, is I'm going to drill and tap each one of the, and I'm going to use, it's nice, it's like I've been struggling with the mini mill for so long, having a real mill that won't, like, you guys have seen it before in my other videos, it would like power out and stop. It's kind of frustrating. So having this, you just cut right through it with butter. I'm going to be doing some drilling and tapping, and I'm just going to do that off camera because it's the first time I'm going to be doing it, so I want to concentrate to make sure that I'm getting familiar with the machine. And so once I do that, then I'll show you guys in some video, depending on what we got going on. Probably do some Sunday shenanigans with this. I'm going to get set up, and I'm going to do some cutting with a slitting saw, because I'm going to, again, through here all these, and then I'm going to slit it in half to my desired height. And then what I'll do is then I take it to the bandsaw and I'll just, you know, hack them off in the length and deburr, you know, and then finish, you know, I'll do the majority of the deburring before I cut them into short pieces, so all I have to deburr is just the ends. So anyway, there we go, figuring it out. Kind of give it a purple power bath, if you will. I have talked to a gentleman in regards to the power feed on this. Now, what I have looked at so far on this, I've got the cover for it because I've had people ask. Everything appears to be mechanically sound in here. Now, I know that this seal is notorious for going bad, so I am going to get a seal that goes in there, and that probably needs to push down, I would imagine. But the gentleman took this off probably to inspect something in there. I don't know. I know this little light's bad, and then the fuse thing is bad. Those items can be sourced locally. I am going to pull this out, pop the cover off, and take a look in there and see if everything looks good or bad. Again, the power cord is cut on this, so I'm going to have to disassemble it and do the old, you know, get a power cord, figure out if my motor's any good, power it up, all that good stuff. But before we even put a power cord on it, I'm going to open it up and look in there, and if everything works like it's supposed or looks good, probably what I'll end up doing, because as far as I can tell mechanically, everything looks good. Camera's washing out in there. Everything looks good on the inside in there, and so it would be nice to be able to just not have to do a whole lot right now to get the power feed up and going, other than I've got some repurposed power cords that I can use, and if it's just a matter of a light switch and a fuse connector, I believe I've got those, and we'll open it up, take a look at it, and we'll see, and we'll definitely do that on video. So anyway, I'll go ahead and set the camera back up here out of the way. There we go. Alright. So there you go. I've had some people ask and comment about the wiring for the mill, because the type of wire that it is, it's just not standard Romex wire. The wire is actually rated, I forget the technical term, I actually purchased a 500-foot roll of this stuff when I lived in Kentucky, for where I lived at the time. It's actually rated to be used outdoors. It's really, really heavy, really, really thick. Now I know it should be in conduit. For right now, because again, money was tight to be able to purchase this and pay for the moving. We all have been there. Yeah, you know, ideally you want to have it in conduit, and that will be down the road as I save some more pennies. But for me right now, I'm not doing a lot of heavy moving stuff around, so I'm not worried about mechanical damage to the wire. Yes, later on I will put that in conduit, and now that stuff is stiff, real hard to work with. But we will, you know, whenever we get to that point, we'll put it. But for right now, you know, the machine's, you know, it's 2 foot from it there, and so we will end up putting it in conduit, at least back here where something can possibly cause mechanical damage. So that way I don't have to worry about it. But, you know, everything's on wheels in the shop here, so we're kind of going through the shuffling, getting rid of, and so there you go, kind of a glance at what we got going on with the mill, the Bridgeport, aka Bridget. So now if you hear me refer to Bridget, you know we're talking about the Bridgeport. I figured that'd be a good name. You know, as guys, we always like to name things after, you know, give it women's names at times or whatever. But so meet Bridget. So anyway, Jim Bollinger, thank you. He messaged me. He actually has a wheel for this, for the fine feed here. I don't know if this works. I haven't seen it. I've fiddled with it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not sure if something in here is loose. I don't know what's going on. If something is out of adjustment here, it looks like someone has shimmed something there. Again, I've got the manual. I need to get into it and look and see exactly how everything needs to be. I strongly suggest getting one of those manuals. I don't have it here. It's in the house. The gentleman, Greg Halligan, again, I mentioned him before. He actually shot me a link to it. There's a gentleman, you can get one, a PDF that's free, They're online to everything you ever want to know about rebuilding one of these, but was afraid to ask. The manual is actually made by Ilion Production, I think is what it was, something on the cover. But anyway, it's on eBay. It's like $30. I will try to find a link to it. No promises, but I want to get this video up and out, and so we'll. So far, everything seems to be working good. We trammed the head in, and because when it was shipped, this was upside down, so we trammed the head in, and that was easy. Like I said, there's a few underneath the vise. There's some pecker marks and drill marks from almost 50 years of service. Some of the flecking is gone in the dovetails, but again, for what I do, it moves smooth. The wipers are actually still in pretty good shape. I popped the covers off. They're good. The felt wipers. I am going to get, because this handle broke at one time and someone fixed it, and everybody has the ubiquitous adapter down here for the drill chuck. I am definitely going to get one of those. And get a power drill specifically designated for that. So I've seen a lot of guys do it. Even see guys hook up air motor stuff, so that might be in the works later. We still have to run air hoses over here, so that's still kind of in the works. But getting back on things we got going on, got to build some T-nuts, because I need T-nuts to keep going with some future projects here on the bolt gun build. So it's kind of like with everything else, you got to stop and build something to move on to the next project. So there we go. Oh, you can hear the speed racers. They're out there now. And is he gonna wreck? Guy on a motorcycle. Oh, here he comes down this way. Is he gonna wreck? I did one night. I heard him. Not him, but whoever it was. Somebody on a Harley or a wannabe Harley. Yeah, matter of fact, a couple blocks from here, midnight, had the garage door open, heard some guy and screech through the block wall. Went down there because oh man, that sounded like a wreck. Sure enough, got down there. A guy on a motorcycle and someone on the back went through the block wall and into the backyard of someone's house. And of course, by that, everyone dialed 911. So there are those that live among us. Anyway, so there you go. You guys got to see some first chips on Bridget, James Green, short, serious shenanigans. Remember, take care of yourself, take care of your family. Because remember, at the end of the day, you and your family is all you got. Also, a quick update. Keith Finner is doing a lot better. You guys can go to his Facebook page. For those of you that aren't on Facebook, hit me an email, eagledustoff37@gmail.com. I will copy and paste what is said on his page. So I'm not interpreting anything. This will be what's directly off of. He's doing good. They put a picture up. He's doing better. So good, good, good. We're glad he's getting better. So keep sending the well wishes and the positive power and the prayers to Mr. Keith Finner, for those of you that don't know. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.